Good morning. We are extremely pleased that you are here. It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree? Mm-hmm. You are knowing what you are wanting? It expands, doesn't it? You like that? So since your desire constantly expands because of what you are living, that means there must always be a new idea that has not yet come to fruition. Is that right? And is that all right with you? Well, you should write that down. So many of our physical friends are in a position where their life has clarified for them that they want something beyond where they are. It may be an improvement in their physical condition. It may be an improved relationship or a missing relationship filled with a present relationship. It may be that they want material things that are more to their advantage, more money, nicer living conditions. It may be that they are wanting a greater sense of fulfillment, a clear idea of who they are and why they are here. But in every case, as your physical life causes you to clarify that you want something beyond where you are, there is always this gap between your realization that you are reaching for something and the actual receiving or obtaining of it. There is always that gap, and we want to call it the eternal gap of life. We want to call it the eternal gap of becoming. We want to call it the natural consequence where a genius, source energy creator, that's you, came forth from non-physical into a physical body with the precise intention of letting the contrast that surrounds you be the basis from which you would come to constant new conclusions of what would make life better for you. And you understood that when all of that happened, that not only would Source agree with you, but the larger part of you, which is still non-physical, even though you are in this physical body, would go immediately and directly to the full essence of what it is you are asking for. Something that is even more interesting to us that most humans miss altogether is that you carve your life out incrementally. In other words, none of you sits down at the breakfast table one morning and writes out your life plan. Instead, it is written by you incrementally. When you're rude, you write a plan that says, I want to be more who I really am when I'm interacting with others. When you're confused, you write a vibrational plan, so to speak, that says, I want more clarity. When you don't have enough money, you write a plan that says, I would like enough money to do what I'm wanting to do right now. When you are sick, your plan says, I want wellness. When you are unsteady, you want to be more steady. When you see your world not in the condition you want it to be, your plan says, I would like the world to improve in this way or this way. In other words, all day, every day, as you sift through the details of your life experience, you are at conscious but mostly unconscious levels, sending rockets of desire forward, which is what you knew you would do when you came forth. In fact, you knew that the evolution of your species, that the evolution of your time-space reality would happen because of you and those like you who are standing in this leading edge environment still asking for more. And from your non-physical perspective, you understand that the reason it works so beautifully is because this is a universe that is based upon attraction. So you knew you had to get here and have experiences that would make you ask for or call for the improvement. It's an eternal cycle of life. So the way it works is, from non-physical, you saw yourself here. As you came into this physical body, you see more still. And as you see more, as you see that which you would like to have, Source says you should know, leading edge creator, and so be it. So much so. In fact, we've written a book and given it the best title that we think could ever be given to a book because it speaks to all of this. And the title of the book is Ask and it is given. Now, an improved title, we wanted this one, but they all said it was way too long. An improved title would be, so I'm non-physical energy, I project myself into a physical body, and then I weigh the consequences of physical life experience, and from that contrast I give birth to endless new desires, which source then becomes immediately at one with. Too long? But that really is what happens. In other words, we want you to know that not only when you ask is it given, we want you to understand that when you ask, the larger non-physical part of you literally becomes the vibrational equivalent of what you're asking for. So if you don't have enough money, and you ask for more money all day, every day, as you are sifting through the details of your life experience, you have amassed an incredible vibrational escrow of abundance. But most physical friends do not feel ownership of something until it is manifested into the physical stuff that they can translate with their physical senses. And we want you to understand that everything you see here, your planet itself, how it spins in its orbit with other planets, everything that you know as physical or material was thought first. It was thought, and then it became form. And in like manner, everything that you create, without exception, must be thought first, and then it is form. And so that's where we come in. You, in your form, live it and want it, and as you give thought to it, it is only thought, and then we give our thought to it, and now it is really thought, and now we stand in the thought of that which you are asking for, and we give our undivided attention to it, calling you forth to it. And when the whole of you catches up with the rest of you, that which was your thought becomes form, and you receive manifestation. How about that? So that's why we call this gathering the art of allowing. That's what that allowing part is. I find some way in my physical body to allow myself to become vibrationally up to speed with what I have formerly only thought about. You following? So step one says ask, and you can't help but do that. You're out here banging around in the physical. All kinds of things are happening, and so you're asking. Step two says source will answer. And that's where source doesn't just answer, source becomes what you are asking for. When you're sick, the non-physical part of you becomes weller than you were before you were sick. Because your exaggerated sickness has caused you to ask for the specifics of wellness in a way you have not done before. When you are confused about something that you have no knowledge about, and you want knowledge about it, the non-physical part of you becomes knowledgeable about that thing that you don't know anything about. When you see anything that you think would be improved and you offer even the slightest preference about it, the non-physical part of you becomes the non-physical embodiment, or non-embodiment if you will, of that which you are asking for. And so we like to say you're a little bit like a two-headed monster, and we'd like to get both heads going in the same direction. So when you ask for something and source becomes it, and you believe it or expect it or anticipate it and watch for it, now you're moving in the same direction as that which is your source, and you feel the alignment of that. It feels like joy, it feels like passion, it feels like fulfillment, it feels good to you. But when you ask for something and the non-physical part of you becomes it, and you keep beating the drum trying to justify why you want it, you see, I need this extra money because life has been so hard for me, you say. And so here is source energy over here tending to all of the money that you've been asking for that has been given to you. And you're over here beating the drum of justification or rationalization, trying to ply the universe with enough neediness that it will yield to you. And we say, you're not talking to your mother anymore. Sort of the way she trained you. You said, I want to have that. And she said, well, everyone wants things that they can't have. And you say, well, but I really want it. And she said, well, there are a lot of things I really want that I don't have. And then you say, but I need it. I need it. And without it, I will die. And she says, well, all right then. Now, it wasn't exactly that way all of the time, but that's the general theme that goes on. And so what happens to so many of our physical friends is you have come to the place of believing that if you plead a needy enough case, if you talk long enough and hard enough about what's going wrong in your experience, that then somebody will give up the goods. And we want you to understand that you're working against universal forces. Because vibrationally speaking, the vibration of what you've given birth to is one frequency, and your need is an entirely different frequency. In other words, you can't set your radio on 6:30 a.m. and hear what's being broadcast on 98 FM. In other words, they're different frequencies. The frequencies have to line up. So when your life has caused you to ask, and Source is riding the rocket, tending to the vibrational abundance of well-being that is your inheritance, your legacy, your creation, when that is the vibration that part of you is offering, and you're over here beating the drum of need, your frequencies are out of alignment, and you're not letting in what you want, and the emotion that you feel lets you know it. So your emotions are your indicator that let you know about the harmony or lack of harmony between the frequency that you are offering through your perception, through your personality, through your mood, through your attitude, through what you're talking about right now, through what you're thinking about right now, through what you're reading, through what you're watching on television. In other words, whatever you're giving your attention to has a vibration activated within you. And so the art of allowing asks the question, is the vibration that's activated within you right now by virtue of whatever you're giving your attention to, is it a match to what's in your vibrational escrow or not? If it's a match, there's alignment and manifestation is happening. If there's not a match, there's not alignment and manifestation can't happen. And that's why so many people that you know, maybe even you, have been asking for things for a long, long time, and they haven't come, which gives you the misimpression that it takes a long time to create big things. We say, it doesn't take any more time to create a castle than a button. It takes no more time to create big things than little things. But both require the same thing, a desire for it and an expectation of it, a belief. When your desire and belief are in the same place, it is done. But when you want something that you doubt, when you want something that you don't believe, when the evidence, when you say, oh, Abraham, I'd like to believe you, but I've struggled my whole life. And we say, well, stop it. And you say, I can't stop it. I've learned it from those who have come before me. It's just what we do here. Imagine taking your canoe down to the river's edge, a very nice, fast-moving stream, and your oars or paddles are already attached to your boat. And you put it in the water, and you deliberately turn it upstream and begin paddling very hard against this fast-moving current. And we say, why not just turn and go with the flow? And our human friends invariably say, doesn't that seem lazy? That seems lazy. And then they will say, my mother would not approve of that. Or my teachers. They all had me pointing the other way. In fact, every plaque on my wall was based upon paddling upstream. And I was measured against the others who did it too. And the better we did it, the better we were able to fight that current, then the more proud our human friends were of us, and the bigger the trophies and monuments. And we hear that when you die, there are even more. And we want you to know something. In fact, it's worth writing this down. Nothing that you want is upstream. Nothing that you want is upstream. And the reason we know that is because we've seen the cycle of life. We know that Source extended itself here into that which is you. And we know that you are asking, as a result of your leading edge experience, just like you knew you would, for more. And we know that Source is becoming that more that you are asking for and is calling you to it. And so we know the source of the stream. And we know that when you turn and go with the stream, you feel ever so good. That's what positive emotion is. Varying degrees of it, but it's what positive emotion is. And we also know that when you buck that current, it can beat up on you pretty good. And that's what negative emotion is. We want you to understand that there is only one stream that you might be going with or against, but there is only one stream. And when you learn from those around you to go against the stream, then you want to pronounce that there are evil streams, that there are streams of sickness or streams of badness or streams of poverty. We say, no, just one stream. You're just not going with it.